We are going to be making tomato basil soup.
We are first going to preheat the oven to 400.
The tomatoes were ripe when we acquired them from the store, so we stored them at the top shelf of the fridge. Since the tomatoes were not cut, it would have been acceptable to leave them at room temperature as well. Had we cut them, we would have had to put them back in the fridge to avoid pathogens from multiplying.
After rinsing the tomatoes in water, we will combine them with olive oil, salt, and pepper on a baking sheet.
We will roast them in the oven for 45 minutes.
This technique uses dry heat, which can intensify the flavors of the tomatoes. Convection is the method of heat transfer here. The reason that the oven uses convection is because we have a heating element at the bottom which causes hot air to rise to the top and then cool at the top and come back down.
While the tomatoes roast, we will saute the onions and garlic in olive oil, butter, and red pepper flakes.
As the onions heat up, they undergo two different processes. The primary process that occurs is the Maillard reaction, which is a non-enzymatic reaction between the sugar and the amino acids in the onion that leads to complex flavors and a brown color.
The secondary reaction that occurs in the onions is caramelization, which is a non-enzymatic browning reaction that gives onions a nutty and sweet flavor. When high heat is applied to the onions, the sucrose in them breaks down. This is why caramelized onions are sweeter than raw onions. Complete caramelization takes a long time, and so in this case, we're only doing a small amount.
After about 10 minutes, we're going to add the canned tomatoes, basil, thyme, and water. It is vital to check the cans for dents, labels, rust, holes, and leaks. Any of these signs could indicate improper storage. If there are any areas of the can that had expanded, this could indicate contamination by a bacteria that causes botulism. This is because as the bacteria grows, it releases a gas that eventually causes the can to expand. Since we don't see that though, it's okay for us to move on.
Another potential hazard is the basil containing cyclosporiasis. This is why we will rinse the basil before using it.
We are going to add the oven roasted tomatoes and all the liquid left on the baking sheet. We will cook it until it is boiling and then let it simmer uncovered for about 40 minutes.
At this point, you can leave the soup as is. However, we chose to add some heavy cream and parmesan for vegetarian tomato soup. Since it is vegetarian, the soup can be served hot or cold, and there is no minimum internal temperature required. To cool the soup more rapidly, one method could be to divide it into smaller bowls to increase the surface area meeting the cool kitchen air. This dish can be stored in the fridge for 3 to 4 days and should be kept on the top shelf as it is a ready-to-use soup.
Thanks for watching!